My husband, who is 35 years old, keeps insulting me with hurtful names. I'm 32 years old, and I don't know how to make him stop doing this. I want to find a way to make him understand that his words are hurting me deeply. About 10 weeks ago, I gave birth to our baby. Around the same time, my husband's dad was told he had stage 4 cancer. The cancer was very serious and spread quickly. Sadly, my father-in-law passed away just last week. The last 2.5 months have been really tough. My husband would visit his dad every day after work to spend as much time with him as possible. This meant I was alone at home most of the time, taking care of our newborn baby. My husband tried to help when he was home, but he wasn't around much. To be fair, my husband has been under a lot of stress lately. He's been trying to balance his time between visiting his dad, working, and helping me with our new baby. But even with all this stress, there's no excuse for how he's been treating me, unfortunately. He has called me hurtful names on multiple occasions. One time, I was taking a shower, and my husband was watching our baby. When I came out, I saw him holding the baby and scrolling through his phone. The baby was staring at the phone too, probably mesmerized by the screen light. I asked my husband to please limit screen time around the baby, but instead of listening, he lashed out at me, saying, "Shut up, bitch." Right now, I'm on maternity leave, and the government is paying me about $2,000 a month. This is much less than my usual income of around $8,000 a month. So my husband's income is the main one supporting our household at the moment. I don't recall exactly what I said, but I was asking him to help more with the baby. We went back and forth, and then he hurtfully called me a low-income ass idiot. I used my work plan to order a new iPhone for my mother-in-law. A few days later, my husband asked me if it had shipped yet. That's when I realized I needed to click the approval button in my work email for the order to go through. But before I could do that, my husband called me an imbecile. Every time he called me names, I told him how much I disliked it. He would agree that it was wrong, but then try to justify his behavior. He said his father raised him with high standards, so he gets upset when things don't meet those expectations. He claimed I wasn't contributing enough to our household and that I had my own roles to fulfill. After saying all this, he would end the argument by asking, "Are we done now?" and try to make up with a hug or kiss, sweeping the issue under the rug. I understand that grief and stress can cause people to do things they later regret, but I'm not perfect, and I won't tolerate being a target for his verbal outbursts. I need to find a way to tell him that his hurtful words affect me deeply each time he says them. Once words are spoken, they can't be taken back, and I find it harder to forgive him each time he calls me names like that.
Story 2.
My parents, who are 59 and 56 years old, are making accusations against my wife, who is 33 years old, like me. But their accusations don't add up or make sense. Should I talk to them about this and clear up the confusion? 2 weeks ago, my wife and I, both 33 years old, had a big argument. I became overwhelmed and had a mental breakdown in our kitchen. I threw 2 glasses, which broke. My wife was in the living room at the time. After that, I left the house and spent 3 days sleeping at my office. Later, I called my parents and told them I didn't want to go back home yet. I asked if I could stay with them until my wife and I worked through our issues. We have 2 daughters, ages 6 and 4. A few years ago, my wife created a WhatsApp group to share our kids' photos with their grandparents. The group includes my wife, me, my dad, 59 years old, and my mom, my dad and wife have never gotten along since the day they first met. Today, my dad came to me and said my wife had deleted 5 years worth of photos from the WhatsApp group. He showed me his phone, and indeed, all the photos and messages were gone. My mom said the same thing had happened on her phone, and when I looked, her phone was also empty. By the way, my dad has access to both his and my mom's phones. Then, I checked my own phone and found that everything was still there. All the photos and messages were intact. I sent a message to my wife asking if she had deleted the photos, but I also told her I didn't think she would do that. She replied, denying that she had deleted anything, and pointed out that if she had, then I wouldn't still have the photos on my phone. My dad has a history of doing things like this, but I don't think he would try to hurt my marriage even more just because he doesn't like my wife. Still, his accusation doesn't make sense. I'm not an expert, but I don't think WhatsApp allows someone to delete photos and messages from just one person's phone while leaving them intact on others' phones. I'm starting to wonder if my parents are trying to turn me against my wife. They've been really nice to me since I came back, and I don't want to accuse them of something they might not have done. At the same time, I don't want to be manipulated or played. I'm caught between not wanting to confront them and not wanting to be influenced against my wife. Summary: my parents claim my wife deleted 5 years worth of photos of our kids from WhatsApp, but their story doesn't add up. I'm trying to figure out what's really going on and if they're trying to manipulate me against my wife.
Story 3.
I, a 31-year-old woman, want to talk to my close friend, a 35-year-old woman, about something that's bothering me. I think her parties, which are only for adults, might be hurting some people's feelings. How can I approach her about this in a kind way? To be honest, I think a real adults-only party would be great a chance for grown-ups to chat and enjoy each other's company without kids interrupting. But that's not what my friend is doing. Instead, she's hosting parties where everyone's attention is focused on her kids. And that's not what I had in mind. I need some advice on how to talk to my friend about this. This has already happened twice, and I don't want it to become a regular thing. I want to find a way to discuss it with her that won't hurt her feelings or make her defensive. The first time it happened, we all thought maybe she had arranged for someone to watch her kids, but it fell through or something. Since we weren't sure, we didn't ask her about it. But everyone felt really awkward because we were expecting a night out without kids, and instead, her 2 young children were there, sitting at the dinner table and needing attention and entertainment throughout the evening. It happened again. She invited us to a dinner party in the evening, and the invitation specifically said adults only. But when we arrived, she had set up all sorts of kids' games everywhere. It was clear she had planned the whole night around us playing with her kids. Everyone felt awkward because we were all looking forward to a night of talking and socializing with other adults, but instead, she asked us to play games with the kids. She had even promised the kids that we would all participate, so it was hard to say no. After the last event, I know several people were really frustrated about having to play with her kids. I overheard some of them whispering to each other, saying they had paid a babysitter for the night and would have rather brought their own kids along. They thought it would have been better to make it a family event so the kids could have played together. I was also confused because I rarely spend money on a babysitter, and I didn't get to enjoy a night of adult conversation like I was expecting. Instead, the kids were the focus of the evening. At one point, she even stopped everything to gather us around and show off her kids' recent art projects, tell stories, and sing songs. I'm wondering if this is normal in other social groups or if it's just my friend's approach. If you were in my shoes, how would you handle this situation with your friend? If I decide to talk to her about it, how can I explain my concerns without making her feel defensive or think that I don't like her kids? I want to approach the conversation in a way that doesn't hurt her feelings or make her feel like I'm criticizing her parenting. After everyone left early, she was upset because she had gone to the trouble of catering the event. But I think people didn't want to stay because they felt disrespected by how the night went. They had been looking forward to a kid-free evening, and instead, they were asked to entertain her children. Now, some people are saying they don't want to spend time with her anymore. I'm not sure what to do or how to handle this situation.